Does the answer to heart disease lie atop Mount Everest? Well, some Mayo Clinic researchers, they just think it might. We're going to talk right now to Shirley Wang. She is in London. She's been exploring these issues. She's joining us here on lunch break. Now, Shirley, my question is this. These researchers are going to the top of Mount Everest. They're studying things like blood and oxygen and the air thinning. What does this have to do in practical measures with our health back here a little bit lower down?
Right. Well, exactly like you said, at high altitudes, our bodies suffer from low oxygen, not enough oxygen getting into the blood or the tissues in our body. And the same thing is happening to patients who have heart failure, lung failure, and sleep apnea. So researchers are hoping to study people who are healthy but are at these high altitudes to try and understand better what's going on in the body when they suffer from low oxygen, so that it might be able to help people with these kinds of medical conditions like heart failure.
And we get the same amount of oxygen, more or less, correct me if I'm wrong though, whether we're high up on Mount Everest or whether we're sort of at sea level, but it's just different the way our body absorbs it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically the percentage of oxygen in the air is the same, is constant, no matter if you're on the top of Mount Everest or at sea level. It's about 21%. But because the barometric pressure, the air pressure, is thinner at less at high altitude, there's not as much oxygen being forced into our tissue, and that's why our body's not getting enough of the oxygen we need when we're up high.
And this is similar to diseases like sleep apnea and heart disease. Walk us through that a little bit.
Right, so these conditions, so heart failure, for instance, is a condition where the heart is not pumping enough oxygenated blood to different organs, and so that's why other body parts aren't getting what they need in terms of oxygen. And so the thinking is that if you can understand better what's going on, even in healthy people, when they're not getting enough oxygen, and see how they compensate, maybe there's some way that you can design a new therapy that can help heart failure patients sort of bypass their broken system to also acclimatize, if you will, or get enough oxygen even if their heart's not pumping enough.
And in terms of what they're doing atop Mount Everest, are they like plugging into these guys? I mean, how are they actually following them and the blood oxygen level?
Right. So they started at base camp, which is actually already pretty high up. Well, there's two of them, I guess. They were in the one on the Nepal side, and they did all kinds of extensive testing in the laboratory at a very high altitude already. So things like sleep studies to see why why their sleep is so poor at high altitudes. You know, what is it about oxygen levels that makes us sleep so poorly? They also did a whole battery of cognitive tests to see how this low oxygen affects our brains, and all kinds of other physiological measures. And then for they measured climbers who were already acclimatized to the high altitude, as well as themselves from Mayo, where they basically start they start about 1,300 feet. So they wanted to compare acclimatized people to non-acclimatized people. But then the climbers themselves were also fitted with all kinds of biosensors to measure like how much energy they expended, as well as different other kinds of physiological measurements, basically to the highest point. And about six of the 10 climbers that they outfitted with these sensors made it to the top of Mount Everest this weekend.